There is a version of you that you haven't met yet, a version so cold, precise, and relentlessly consistent that if you encountered him today, you wouldn't recognize him. You would fear him. Most people assume discipline is about waking up early, eating right, or working hard. They are mistaken. True discipline isn't a habit, it's a deliberate confrontation with your own weaknesses. It's the ability to face your emotions, fatigue, and excuses, and set them aside entirely. Machiavelli understood this. He didn't write for the saints, he wrote for strategists. He knew that to maintain power in a chaotic world, softness is fatal. Predictability is weakness. You must become an unstoppable force. When you achieve true discipline, people don't just respect you, they become uneasy around you. They notice the shift. They see someone who cannot be manipulated, who no longer negotiates with himself. And that unsettles them. Because a mind that cannot be broken from within cannot be broken from without. You are here because you are exhausted, not just physically, but at a deeper level. You are tired of your own inconsistency. You are frustrated by promises you break before the day is half over. You see others advancing while you remain stuck in cycles of fleeting motivation and inevitable collapse. You want a way out. You want a mind that cannot be defeated. I will show you how. But understand this isn't self-help. This is self-destruction. We are going to dismantle the weak, dependent, emotional part of you so that the disciplined, sovereign self can emerge. We will apply the ruthless philosophy of Niccolò Machiavelli to your daily life. By the end, you will understand why seeking to be liked is a weakness, and why being feared through discipline is the ultimate freedom. The key isn't in what you add to your life, it's in what you are willing to eliminate. Most men are slaves to impulses, to their phones, to the opinions of people they don't respect. Beginning this path, you stop being a slave. You become sovereign. But sovereignty comes at a cost. Are you willing to pay it? Phase 1. The discipline of silence. Machiavelli famously said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience who you really are." The average person broadcasts every detail of their life. They announce plans before taking action. They post achievements before any real effort. They seek validation for work they haven't yet done. This is why they fail. They release pressure before the engine even starts. You must do the opposite. Become a ghost. True discipline requires silence and darkness. Constantly discussing your goals is asking for approval. Stop asking. The most dangerous person in the room is the one who listens, observes, and says nothing. Silence creates a vacuum. People project their fears onto you. They wonder what you're planning, why you no longer need attention. This silence becomes your armor. It protects your intent. It allows you to correct mistakes privately, without judgment. You build strength free from others' doubt. Imagine disappearing for 6 months. No announcements, no explanations. Just work, training, and focus. You cut out noise, cheap dopamine, and toxic friends who only support you superficially. Then you return, but you aren't the same. You return sharper, heavier. Your presence changes. You don't need to declare it, others feel it. They notice in your posture, your quiet confidence. This is the discipline of the ghost. It unsettles people because it exposes their lack of focus. While they chase attention, you've been building power. Start today. Stop explaining yourself. Explanation is the language of the powerless. The strong act, and their results speak louder than words. If you are tired, work in silence. If you are hurt, heal quietly. If you are winning, keep winning. Your results will speak for themselves. Comment below if you are ready to enter the void. I build in silence. Phase 2. Emotional alchemy. There is a misconception that disciplined people are emotionless, unaffected by pain, boredom, or sadness. That is false. The disciplined person feels everything. The desire to sleep, the sting of rejection, the urge to quit. The difference is that they do not let it control them. Machiavelli taught that a leader should not be ruled by emotion but should use emotion strategically. He said, "Men are driven by 2 principal impulses, either by love or by fear." You must learn to apply this principle to yourself. You cannot depend on loving the grind. At 4 a.m., you will not love it, you will hate it. Passion cannot be relied on either. Passion is unstable. It flickers and dies with the slightest gust. What you need is colder. You need duty. Discipline is the ability to act in direct opposition to how you feel. It is emotional alchemy. You take the weight of, I don't want to, and transform it into the gold of, I did it anyway. When you stop asking your feelings for permission, you become formidable. Consider this. If your opponent knows you only act when motivated, all they must do is wait until you are tired or discouraged. You are defenseless. But if you are the kind of person who works harder when miserable, trains harder when heartbroken, and focuses deeper when angry, you become unpredictable. You become immune to circumstances. This unsettles others. They wonder, why isn't he stopping? Why isn't he broken yet? They do not realize you have separated your actions from your feelings. You treat emotions like the weather. You see the storm, acknowledge it, but you do not cancel your mission. You put on a coat and walk through it. This is the Machiavellian approach to self-discipline. You are the ruler, and your emotions are unruly subjects. You listen to them, but you do not let them govern. If they rebel, you contain them. Begin practicing the seconds rule. When the alarm rings, count 3 seconds. Think past that, and your brain will convince you to stay in bed. The brain is designed for comfort, not greatness. It is a survival mechanism, not a success mechanism. You must bypass negotiation. Do not think. Thought delays action. In moments of weakness, simply move. Let your body obey the command. Over time, you rewire your neural pathways. You stop being someone who tries to be disciplined and become a machine that functions regardless of feelings. This is how you become untouchable. When your internal state no longer dictates your output, you are free. Phase 3. The weaponization of isolation. Machiavelli recognized that to hold power, a ruler often must stand alone. He wrote, "A wise prince should rely on what is in his own control, not on what is in the control of others." Examine your circle. The 5 people you spend the most time with, are they pushing you forward, or are they comfortable? Most people fear solitude. They fill silence with podcasts, music, texting, scrolling. They avoid sitting with their own thoughts, because those thoughts reveal the truth. They are wasting their potential. To achieve exceptional discipline, you must embrace isolation. You must walk away from those who do not serve your mission. This may seem harsh. It is. It is ruthless, but necessary. When you rise, people will try to pull you back, not out of hatred, but because your growth reflects their stagnation. You become a mirror. When you improve physically, the out-of-shape friend feels judged. When you build a business, the unmotivated friend feels attacked. They may say, "You've changed. You're obsessed. You're no fun anymore." But fun is a distraction for the average. You are here for mastery. You must accept being the villain in their story. Let them call you cold or distant. Let them assume you think you are better than everyone else. You are not better. You simply hold higher standards and refuse to lower them for others' comfort. Isolation is the laboratory of the exceptional. In solitude, free from others' opinions, you discover who you truly are. You hear your own voice. You clarify your vision. You must schedule periods of total withdrawal, monk mode, deep work, or whatever term fits. Lock the door, turn off your phone, and focus entirely on the work. In that space, you will encounter discomfort. You will face boredom, anxiety, and resistance. You will confront them, and when you overcome them in solitude, you emerge with a confidence that cannot be faked. People notice this. They sense someone who does not rely on others, and paradoxically, that is what draws them to you. The person who is comfortable alone is the one everyone wants to be near because he does not take from them. He is self-sufficient. Phase 4. The fear of unpredictability. Machiavelli advised that a leader should never be fully predictable. It is safer to be feared than loved. Love relies on obligation, which can be broken whenever convenient. Fear, however, preserves control through a consistent dread of consequences. How does this relate to discipline? Undisciplined people are predictable. Others know when you will quit, complain, or fold under pressure. Your weaknesses are visible, making you easy to manipulate. Discipline makes you unpredictable. You stop reacting automatically. An insult does not provoke anger. You observe and return to work. A crisis does not trigger panic. You analyze and respond. Losses do not lead to despair. You rebuild. This lack of reaction terrifies manipulative people. They depend on your volatility to control you. Remove those buttons and they are powerless. Your consistency becomes your weapon. Imagine a person who shows up every day, year after year, executing without complaint, without boasting. You cannot stop him, discourage him, or distract him. That person is frightening because he is inevitable. You want to become that force, implacable, like a glacier, slow, silent, and unstoppable. This requires eliminating the part of you that seeks sympathy. Stop sharing your problems, posting about bad days, or looking for validation. Seeking sympathy exposes vulnerability. Machiavelli would advise hiding your wounds, not out of shame, but to deny others the satisfaction of knowing they hurt you. Stand tall. Maintain composure. Move with purpose. Even if your world is collapsing, do not let them see you sweat. This is not faking, it is framing. You shape reality. You signal to the world, I am in control, and eventually, so will you be. Phase 5. The standard of the absolute. Why do you fail? Because your standards are too low. You accept mediocrity. You settle for almost or enough. You need to raise the baseline. Machiavelli studied great empires, Rome, Sparta. They did not fall because of external enemies. They fell because they decayed from within. They lost discipline. Luxury made them soft. You live in the most comfortable period in human history. Heating, delivery, endless entertainment, sugar, pornography, drugs, all designed to sedate you. To be disciplined now is an act of rebellion. You must wage war on comfort. Set standards that seem unreasonable. Why wake at 4 a.m.? Why check every detail? Why reject indulgences? Because you are not average. You do not announce it, you simply live it. When you hold yourself to excellence, you expose the mediocrity around you. Others resent it because your actions challenge their excuses. If you can do it, why can't they? It is easier for them to label you obsessed or crazy than admit their own laziness. Let them. The Machiavellian man does not lower himself to be understood by fools. He forces the world to rise to meet him or leaves it behind. Be ruthless with your time. Time is the one resource you cannot regain. Every second spent arguing, scrolling, or worrying about what you cannot control is stolen from your future. Guard it like a dragon guards gold. Be inaccessible, brief, and direct. When people recognize your time as valuable, they respect it. Discipline creates scarcity, and scarcity creates value. By becoming so disciplined that your actions are near mechanical, you rise above the competition. Most people operate in the average range. At the top, the air is thin, the climb is harder, and the view is different. The silence is different. Phase 6. The death of the old self. This is the hardest phase. This is where you hold the funeral for your old self. To become the person who commands respect, and even fear, you must kill the version of you that craves approval. You must kill the version of you that apologizes for ambition. You must face your past, your mistakes, trauma, and embarrassments, and close that chapter. Machiavelli said, there is no avoiding war. It can only be postponed to the advantage of others. You are at war with your former self. If you do not destroy him, he will destroy your future. He will drag you back into old habits and whisper excuses when challenges arise. Just take a break. Just one drink. Just skip today. You must be ruthless. You are shedding an old skin. It is painful and leaves you exposed, but it is the only way to grow. You may lose friends, a partner, or face misunderstanding from your family. This is the cost of greatness. Do not complain, pay it. On the other side of this death is rebirth. A version of you that is leaner, faster, and sharper. A version that acts on logic, not emotion. A version that sees life as a chessboard, not a playground. This new self is intimidating, even to you. he should be. Power is always unsettling. But this is power over yourself, not others. That is majesty, not tyranny. When you walk into a room with complete self-control, people sense it. They yield without knowing why. You carry the look of a man who has confronted the abyss and mastered his own mind. There is no greater victory. As the Stoics and Machiavelli understood, the man who conquers himself is greater than the man who conquers a city. When you commit to this discipline, the noise of life fades. The anxiety that has buzzed in the background for years disappears because anxiety exists only when you are unprepared or dishonest with yourself. When disciplined, you have nothing to hide. You know who you are and what you are capable of. You stop fearing the future because you are building it. You stop fearing others because they cannot outwork you. You stop fearing failure because failure becomes data for the next attempt. You are free. But it is a cold freedom. It is a solitary freedom. It is the freedom of the wolf on the hill looking down at the sheep in the pen. They are warm, safe and fed, but trapped. You are out in the cold, hungry but free. This is the choice you face, the warmth of the herd or the power of the hunt. You cannot have both. Machiavelli wrote his philosophy in exile. Stripped of status, cast out, and alone, he produced truths that changed the world. He didn't need applause, he needed truth. Your discipline is your truth. It is the one thing no one can take from you. They can take your money, your job, or your reputation, but they cannot take your discipline, your endurance. That is your fortress. That is your throne. The world is growing softer, louder, and more chaotic. This is your advantage. While others weaken, you harden. While they are distracted, you focus. While they seek comfort, you seek the edge. You will scare them, not because you try to, but because you reflect everything they are too timid to become. Let them watch, whisper, and fear. You have work to do. The path is cold. The path is steep. And you must walk it alone. If you have made it this far, you are part of the 0.01%. You are the outlier. Prove it. Comment below, I choose the cold path. If you want to continue this descent into the deep psychology of power, if you want to arm your mind with weapons the world does not teach you, subscribe and turn on notifications. We are just getting started. The old you is dead. Now build the new one.